Hey guys, what is up? I am back with another video and today's one is going to be really exciting because whenever I post a video on New Zealand, you guys seem to absolutely love it. So I've got a few more videos coming and this is one of them. So ever since I've done a few of these videos, I've been getting so many comments and messages and everything asking me questions. So I thought I would try to answer some of them in a few videos. So this particular one is going to be on tips for actually traveling around New Zealand. So it's going to be the ultimate New Zealand travel guide. And I'm also going to do one on my favorite places to travel in New Zealand, and then another one on actually moving and living here and just those kind of things that would be really useful to know for some of you. I'm also actually about to jump on the ferry from Wellington City and go down to the South Island and do a bit of a road trip for a week, so I might film that for you guys as well, because I know a lot of you guys do want to travel to the South Island as well. So if you're interested in that, keep an eye out in my upcoming videos. Also, excuse the messy hair. This is just like the typical New Zealand surfer girl look, right? So it was totally meant to be this way. I definitely didn't just not brush my hair, you know what I mean? So if you guys are planning on traveling to New Zealand, which I would highly recommend, hopefully there'll be a few useful tips in here for you, whether you already live in New Zealand or you're someone from overseas. Let's get into it. So just as a bit of an overview, if you didn't know, there are 4.6 million New Zealanders in New Zealand. Although New Zealand is pretty small, it's actually smaller than the UK, with 1/14 of the population. So New Zealand does look pretty small on a map, although it is really full of diversity, you know, just so much to do, and each island is really different as well. So we've got the North Island and we've got the South Island. In my opinion, I'd say from what I've seen, the North Island probably has the best beaches. Definitely the warmer weather is in the North Island too. And there's a bigger population than down south, and also I'd say there's a lot more cultural kind of things to do here if that's what you're interested in. But the South Island by far has to be the most beautiful part of New Zealand. That's where most travellers like to go. It's honestly just so astounding, and I've only seen a small part of the South Island, although today I am going on a road trip, so I'm going to be seeing like Queenstown, Monica and all those pretty areas way down south. So I would definitely recommend heading to the South Island if you are planning on visiting here for sure. The South Island is more so huge mountains. That's where New Zealand's biggest mountain, Mount Cook, is. There's a lot of adventure sports, a lot of water sports, like also skiing, snowboarding, and heaps of hiking. There's a lot of green rolling hills, a lot of sheep, as you would expect in New Zealand, and that kind of thing. So those are probably the key differences that I would say there are between the two islands if you're tossing up what one you want to visit. So there is also a 3-hour ferry that goes between the two islands that I'm actually jumping on today. So it's a pretty easy way to kind of get around. If you don't want to fly, it's generally cheaper as well. New Zealand as a whole is very similar in most areas, but at the same time very different. In the North Island, the ties are much closer with Polynesia, and meanwhile down in the deep south, to me, people have an accent down there that's different than ours. They roll their R's, and I can't even, I'm not going to try it, but to me it is quite different. So yeah, definitely it does vary place to place. Whether you're going to be hitchhiking around or doing a road trip, the number one thing I would say is to keep an open mind and be spontaneous. Obviously, you know, you do want to have a bit of a plan in mind, but I personally absolutely love trips where you kind of pencil a few places out, but then you just go with the flow and see what you actually enjoy doing once you get there. So for my South Island trip that I'm about to go on right now, we don't have any accommodation booked at all, so we're kind of just going to, you know, visit a few places and see what we like best and see how long we want to stay in each location. So yeah, just be spontaneous. Honestly guys, the roads, especially, you know, the South Island, are so beautiful. So that in itself kind of is a journey. I don't know. It's not really like in some places in America that I've been where it's just one massive straight highway and you don't really get any scenery. Everything in New Zealand is just beautiful scenery, so you'll just be looking out your windows the whole time with these beautiful mountains, and there's lots of places to pull over and, you know, take pictures. So It's definitely a very like chilled out kind of place for doing that. Just take your time and have fun with it. And yes, people do get us confused with Australia all the time. So New Zealand is quite different to Australia. We have a lot more hills. Our roads can be quite narrow and quite windy, so even though on a map it looks like it would be really fast to get to one location, this isn't always the case. So just allow extra time so you don't stress, and just be realistic with how many places you think you can get to in one day. In terms of our weather in New Zealand, the saying is 4 seasons in a day, and that is honestly very true. I'll definitely recommend packing a jersey and a waterproof raincoat for sure. Like even if it's the warmer kind of times of the year, I would say just bring a raincoat because we do get a lot of rain. Along with that, I would say always bring your jandals, and if you don't know what that means, because that is a New Zealand word, I'll look it up. And I would say also just a really good pair of shoes, a really good pair of hiking boots or something like that, because we do have a lot of great hiking trails that you want to take advantage of. In New Zealand and Australia, we also have a really bad hole in the ozone layer, which this just means that the UV rays are pretty intense compared to, well, pretty much everywhere else in the world, I would say. And you can get burnt literally just going outside for 10 minutes. I ate my breakfast outside for like 10 minutes and I could literally see my legs were starting to turn red. So you want to make sure you have lots of sunscreen all times of year. And if you don't know, our seasons are the opposite to the northern hemisphere. So our summer is right now, which is from about December until February kind of time would be the warmest months, and definitely the most expensive to travel here as well. And if you do need to pick up any kind of cheap camping supplies or a raincoat, anything like that, 2 stores I would recommend if you're on a budget are the Warehouse and Kmart, because they just kind of have everything you could want. I guess they're like kind of like Target in America. Okay, now coming down to the prices of everything. Unfortunately, being such a beautiful isolated country, with that comes the added expenses of things needing to be imported in here, since we don't like produce that much of our own stuff. Obviously that's going to kind of hike up the price a little bit. So in comparison to most countries worldwide, I would say New Zealand is probably one of the more expensive countries. Everyday items just like food and drink are going to cost you a little more, but it's not substantially more expensive than what it is in the US, for example. Just to give you guys an idea, let's just say a restaurant meal with a drink that might cost you in total like $35, $40, something like that for one person. If you go somewhere a little cheaper, maybe around 20, I don't know, it kind of depends. But the good thing here is that all our prices include GST. The price that you see on a tag or on a menu item or anything is what you're going to pay, which is great. Makes it nice and easy. And also you don't need to tip, but the thing is you don't need to go and eat out all the time, although we do have some amazing restaurants. New Zealand also has the best coffee in the world, so if you're a coffee fan, you need to go to some of our local cafes. If you're going to be staying at hostels or even some camping grounds here, most of them are going to have kitchen facilities, so it's pretty easy to cook your own meals and save a lot of money that way. When it comes to buying groceries, the cheapest supermarket is definitely Pack and Save if you're on a budget. Otherwise there's Countdown, and New World is probably our nicest supermarket, but it's definitely a little more pricey. We do enjoy our alcohol here, so if you're wanting to save money, our alcohol is pretty expensive, so definitely hit up those happy hours. A lot of hostels and bars and stuff have happy hours like every weekend on Fridays and stuff like that. And another thing, just in case you didn't know, New Zealand's tap water is absolutely a-okay to drink no matter where you are in the country. Honestly, just after traveling overseas, I really appreciate our water here. Oh, it tastes amazing. We have the best tap water I think that I've had in any country, so no need to worry about that. So if you are an international person coming to New Zealand, I would definitely recommend if you are going to be driving around, to check out our road rules and make sure you understand them. It is very different here to most countries, and just with the roads being so narrow and all those one-way bridges, we're on the other side of the road than most countries too. So definitely make sure you get clued up on that, because I hear about so many car accidents with tourists that just aren't following the road rules, or literally have gone on the other side of the road or something really bad. So you definitely don't want to get caught out. If you are going to be driving here, the average cost for petrol per litre is $2 New Zealand dollars. There are a lot of car rental places. Juicy Car Rentals probably be the most, one of the most popular ones that travellers tend to use. And another pro tip here is that most people coming into New Zealand to travel fly into Auckland, but what you could do is, instead of starting at Auckland and going south and then going to the South Island, catch a flight from Auckland to Christchurch or Queenstown and then work your way back up the country, because it's going to be cheaper in terms of renting a car and things like that, because all the travellers are coming down, and if you're someone who's going to be travelling up, a lot of car rental places will be needing people to bring their cars from down south back up to Auckland and that kind of thing. So yeah, that could potentially save you money. We've also got the bus services that take you around the country. So Naked Bus and Intercity Bus are the cheapest and best ones, and I've been on both of those and they get you from A to B. The other option is hitchhiking, which of all places in the world, I would say New Zealand would definitely be a pretty safe place to do hitchhiking, and so many travellers do this, especially in the South Island. So if you're up for that kind of thing, could be worth trying out. Other ways of getting around could be the holiday package type services, like the one like Kontiki, which will take you around a bus and you'll go and do a bunch of cool things with a bunch of other cool people. So that will be more pricey, but you kind of pay for the convenience factor. And there's also Kiwi Experience, which I've heard is pretty good in terms of accommodation. If you were looking at just say that the hostels and stuff, that's going to set you back around $20 to $40 per person per night on average, I would say. Obviously depending on where you go. Meanwhile, private rooms or like Airbnbs and stuff like that will probably begin at $80 at the absolute cheapest. Camping is pretty cheap though, and it doesn't cost too much if you just want to rock up to a campsite and just pay a couple of dollars to have a bit of grass and set up a tent there. Another way you guys can stay here fairly cheap is through woofing. If you guys haven't seen my video on woofing, I will link it down below. Woofing is an amazing way to travel. I'm so happy I found out about it, and I'm planning to go and do it in Hawaii at some point. So basically woofing is just where you can work on an organic farm, and in exchange for that they will cover your accommodation and your food. So it's a pretty sweet deal. They've got woofing in every single country around the world. New Zealand's got heaps of places to go and woof at too. Another thing that could be your saviour in New Zealand when trying to figure out what to do and where to go and all of these things are the local information sites. They're called iSites, I think, and they're in pretty much every town and city. Basically it's just a place where you can go and talk to people, get advice on what to do, go and pick up a bunch of brochures, all that good stuff. And I know you can kind of just Google things nowadays and all the information is at your fingertips. But I personally find it really helpful to actually sometimes go and speak to a real person. I definitely recommend checking those out if you're at a loss of what to do or anything like that. Take advantage of all our incredible free activities that we have here. So there's literally so much stuff you can do for free. If you're someone who likes the outdoors, then you're gonna be doing just fine, I would say. There are some of the world's most beautiful hikes and beaches, and museums, really cool natural hot pools, some kind of festivals, farmers markets, really cool stuff like that. So definitely get amongst it. Another one I thought could come in handy for people coming overseas to visit NZ would be for your cell phone. Obviously you can do the international data roaming with your own provider if that's easiest, but it's usually always way more expensive. So I just recommend picking up a SIM card. Our probably two biggest mobile providers are Vodafone and Spark. So just visit one of those stores, grab yourself a SIM card. You can get a prepaid plan for a month that, the cheapest one would be say $19 and you get data, calls and texts, or you can probably spend up to like $50 on it, but I would definitely recommend that as the cheapest way to use a cell phone while you're traveling here. So those are a few of my tips for traveling around New Zealand. I really hope this was helpful. Hope you guys did enjoy this video, and just remember to enjoy your time here. Most people here are going to be super chill, super friendly and super helpful. So if you don't know anything, or if you are stuck and in need of help, just ask, and a fellow Kiwi will be more than happy to help you out, I am sure. If you are just visiting here, just remember that you're only here once. You want to make the most of your time. And I'm personally someone who loves my sleep. Like, I absolutely love my sleep. So a lot of the time I do pick sleeping over going out and adventuring, but I just need to tell myself, Dani, you're never going to remember the nights that you had a good sleep. And that is so true, because at the time you value sleep so much, but when you look back on it, what are you going to remember? The times you spent sleeping, or the times you spent experiencing these awesome things and making memories. So yeah, just make the most of it and enjoy your time in New Zealand. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below and I will definitely try to answer them in another video. And if you guys like my New Zealand videos, please give me a big thumbs up, and that way I'll know to keep making them. Yeah, hope this helps and wish me all the best for my South Island trip. I'm going to be late to the ferry, so I better get going. Happy holidays guys, and I'll talk to you all very, very soon. Bye!